the right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Love, deep drop, deep throw. 3 Rams are down there, but it's caught by the Packers. Jayden at the 1-yard line. Jacobs bouncing, gonna cut it outside, and Jacobs waiting for the signal, touchdown.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Coming after him, Young just heaves it. Somehow it's caught for the touchdown on the pick 6. What a bizarre play that is. That's McCullough wide open. He's got Kraft. Tight ends running with stiff arm. Kraft's going the distance. Tucker Kraft. He plays the game the way it was meant to be played.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Down the field, intercepted. And a 5th straight game. McKinney has an interception again.
You take your shot. It's one-on-one everywhere.
Pass incomplete. And no flag. Parkinson was the target. Evan Williams defended it. And the Packers are going to hold on.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Now live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamora. Here's Jen Latta.
Yesterday, as the Green Bay Packers get their 3rd win of the season, this time over the Los Angeles Rams. And we will be reacting to it all morning long here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. 800-990-3776 if you want to get in on the conversation. Gabe, I think there's 2 ways that you can look at yesterday's game.
Okay.
You can go, not their best effort. Or you can go, hell yeah, wins win, and they got punched in the mouth a little bit. There was a thought of self-inflicted errors, but the resilience they showed, the fight they showed, I'm taking that to the bank. I am running with it. I believe they will continue building on that, and I am optimistic this morning. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am in camp number 2 because my fragile little sports heart could not have handled it if the Packers lost yesterday, okay? I was struggling. I was despondent. I am in San Francisco on Friday watching the Brewers. I could not have dealt with a Brewers elimination game on Friday and then the Packers losing to the Rams on Sunday. I couldn't have handled it. So on some level, the fact that the Packers walked out of there with the victory, even though at times there were self-inflicted errors and things that I would like back, I was like, whew, okay, we survived the weekend with no further angst or issue.
No, there was angst. You're telling me there wasn't angst during the game yesterday? It's, oh, yeah, they're fine. This is fine.
I do think they're fine. I think that the things that we saw that we didn't love, they will continue to improve upon. And we had a lot of stuff to get to, obviously, and there's a lot of things to dive into.
Of that.
Really?
Yeah.
What keeps you from being convinced that the Packers will continue to get better a la last season, Jordan Love first half versus Jordan Love second half this year?
It's the one thing I'm concerned that's not going to get better is the pass rush. At this point, I don't know if that is going to get better. At this point, I think it's just the 4 that and they had 3 sacks yesterday, but a lot of that coming on when they had to bring pressure, when they decided that they had to blitz. And that's when you're going to put yourself in trouble against some better teams. And that's the big issue. Jordan's decision-making isn't very good right now. We can't. I don't think we can just go, oh, yeah, just like last year, he'll get better in the second half. If he's the $55 million man, do I ultimately think he's going to be fine? Yes, but outside of the interception, there were other decisions that were bad.
Don't you think he is still sort of dealing with some lingering effects of that knee injury? Don't you think he is still figuring out what he can do and what he can't do? Look, I'm not going to excuse the throwing the ball in the end zone to avoid a safety and instead door number 2 being a pick 6, points on the board for the other team. More points, obviously, than the safety would have resulted in. I can't excuse that. But I like how he responded to it. I like that he came out after that and was like, completion.
Completed his next 7 of 8 or whatever.
9, I believe, crisscrossing over into the second half as well. So I like that from your leader, from your $55 million man.
Sure, but I mean, his completion percentage is still below 60%.
Yeah, but it'll go up, I think, as the season goes on. He was without Christian Watson. He was without Romeo Doubs, which we will also continue to discuss as the show goes on.
Who knows when they're coming back? It's not like we know they're coming back anytime soon.
But even with those things stacked against them, they walked out of there with a win. Is Matthew Stafford at this stage of his game still capable of leading a game-winning drive? Yes. I think we saw it in the 2.5-minute drive that they put together before the end of the game. There was a part of me that was like, Matthew Stafford's going to do this. In fact, my son looked at me and goes, Mom, they're going to lose.
Luckily, Tutu Atwell's his best receiver. If they had better receiving options than Tutu Atwell, then yes, there's a higher chance that game ends a little bit differently yesterday.
So I walked out of there happy. Obviously, a win makes you happy. And I'm not saying that you're not happy with the win. I said, things to improve upon, yes, but I feel confident and good about this team going forward. And you're telling me pump the brakes.
Yeah. I mean, they still have to go out there and show it. They got to still go out there and prove it. I mean, outside of Jayden Reed, Tucker Kraft, McKinney, Josh Jacobs. Am I missing anyone, Joshy? I think those are the 4 that I feel really good about.
Those are the safe ones.
Yeah. I mean, just about everybody else has got massive rooms for improvement.
Massive.
Yeah.
They're 3-2.
Yeah. And the 2 times they've played good teams, they've lost.
Wait, you don't think the Rams are a good team?
They're 1-4.
No, I want to make sure that I'm understanding.
Yeah. They have a single win. I don't know how good they can be, especially without. I mean, they ran through it in the broadcast.
Do you think the Bengals are a good team?
No, they are not a very good team. They're just not.
Jeez. I mean, Joe Burrow threw 5 touchdowns yesterday, and they lost to one of the best teams in the AFC.
And threw a critical interception. Now they're 1-4. At some point, you are what your record says you are, Bill Parcells. Like, you can't be. You're 1-4. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 1-4.
Yeah, yesterday was the day of the season where now there are no more winless teams in the NFL. That's pretty great, right? Parody.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
That's what I'm like. If you are 1-4 right now, you're not a very good team. And they ran through it in the broadcast yesterday. The Rams can't be a good team without 2 of their starting offensive linemen and their 2 top wide receivers.
But aren't you capable of saying that injuries are playing a role in that? Just as you said, right? They obviously are injured at the receiver position. They're injured at the offensive line position. So you could be a good team that is dealing with injuries.
Sure, but right now, while dealing with those injuries, you know what that makes you? A bad team.
So
the Packers played a bad Rams team
yesterday. Guess the question I want to nail down with you is, are the Packers a good team?
I don't know. I want to say yes, but they're not playing like a good team. They are not playing like a good team right now.
But isn't all that matters getting the win? Like, I understand what you're saying. Like, you want to break it down and you want to figure out how you can get better in these areas. I mean, like, I didn't love, this is going to sound crazy to say out loud. I didn't love the decision-making on the Jordan Love completion to Jayden Reed.
Well, either did Matt LaFleur. So if his head coach wasn't thrilled with the decision-making, I think you can be in that camp.
It worked out.
Yes.
It was very Favre-esque. It was no, okay, yes. But that doesn't mean it was a good decision. It just means it worked out. So there are things that I think Jordan needs to continue to clean up, but I am optimistic based on what I saw last year from Jordan Love and on a micro level, what I saw from him yesterday, which was make a mistake, make a bad decision, and then go out there and execute.
I guess that's the frustrating part, is that you see it, but it's even like simple completions that just go sailing, where guys are open, you just kind of like, okay, what was that? A couple of those early in the game, which is why the completion percentage is where it is.
But also, last week, we watched as he was throwing to the ground. A couple of them got picked up and were catches. A couple of them were debated whether they were catches or not. But that, when you're talking about his season-long completion percentage, you got to wrap in last week's game when we know he was not 100%, when we know he was still dealing with, can I trust this knee or not?
Sure, but also, so he's played 3 games. I understand it's a small sample size, but in the game where he was healthy, it was 50%. Right? He was 17 of 34 against the Eagles. So the one thing that I was hoping would be the easiest thing to translate from the back half of last year to the start of this year was decision-making and accuracy. And that has not translated. It just hasn't. He's throwing more interceptions. He's got, through, what is he at, 5 now? 5 interceptions in 3 games after throwing just the one over the back half of last year. And the completion percentage, was close to 70%. I mean, halfway through the season, it was below 60%. Man, he's going to have to really work his butt off to get this thing up there.
But completion percentage, I understand there is a correlation, but completion percentage isn't causation either, right? We need to make sure that we are distinguishing between Jordan Love's completion percentage in any given game does not dictate with certainty the outcome of the game. So you can sit here and say that you would like your quarterback to have a higher completion percentage because it puts him amongst the elite in the league. But at the end of the day, if you're finding other ways to win, and I could make the argument that the secondary for the Green Bay Packers, as much as you are struggling with and frustrated with the pass rush, the secondary for the Green Bay Packers is making incredible plays. And to be fair, the defense only gave up 12 points in that game. They obviously scored 19 because they had the pick 6 on the Jordan, not trying to get a safety issue. That's a pretty good day for the defense.
The defense. Okay, if you want to make the argument the defense played fine yesterday, I'm just not buying that because they didn't. Again, the Rams are just really limited in what they can do. Kyron Williams still had a good game on the ground. Another back that goes over 100 yards against the Packers rushing defense. Shocker there. Again, they're without their top 2 receivers that can really make that offense special. So clearly Kyron Williams was going to be a big part of that game plan. And they really couldn't do anything to stop Kyron Williams. So that's concerning for me. Again, the back half, especially with Jair getting healthy, back end of the defense, I am not worried about. That secondary is loaded with talent. We saw it with Evan Williams yesterday. He got some more extended opportunities. He's fantastic. At some point, I think we have to question who's playing in the front 7, especially in the linebacker space, because it seems like every time that Edgerrin Cooper's on the field, he's making plays, and yet he's not on the field all that often. I'd like to see him on the field a little bit more often. I think that comes into question for me. Look, yes, it's important that you get the wins, and it's important that you start playing better football because you've got some pretty good teams coming up here. Like if the Packers play like this, I don't know if they can beat the Cardinals.
Cardinals, I think, got a win yesterday, didn't they?
They did over the 49ers. Like the Cardinals, the Cardinals are a team that can put up some points. And Kyler Murray can run around and make some plays on you.
You follow that up with the Texans, by the way, who got a win yesterday over the Bills.
Yeah, the Texans are a very good team. After that, Jacksonville, not as tough as what you thought.
But then the Lions.
And then the Lions. So this you're starting to enter the stretch of the schedule where you're going to have these good measurement
I'm going to tell you right now, we did not think that the stretch of the schedule would include the Cardinals, did we? We were not like, oh, that stretch where the Cardinals. No. We were like...
I mean, you kind of reverse. I mean, you're basically flipping out what we thought maybe Jacksonville could be and just kind of placing that on the Cardinals.
800-990-3776. How are you feeling this morning about the Green Bay Packers win yesterday? They did get the win, 24-19. Did Jordan have moments where you were like... yes, that happened. Absolutely. And yet they got the win. And I think you build off of the second half of the game. You build off of what Jordan Love did after he made some weird decisions, after he threw some balls that you'd like to have back, after they made some mistakes on offense and say, oh, they did respond. Oh, great. They have it in them. Got punched in the mouth a little bit. Now, did they punch themselves in the mouth? Yes, they did. Well, right? This wasn't like the Brewers in game 1 where the Mets punched them in the mouth and they just didn't respond.
The problem I have is you thought you would be able to build off of what they did in the second half last week against Minnesota. And they didn't. They didn't in the first half this week. So that doesn't really carry over. That's the issue I have. Like, yes, he played better in the second half, but how do I know that's actually going to be able to carry over? Because you played really well in the second half against Minnesota, minus the Favre-esque interception in the end zone that you decided to chuck up. Other than that, he played really well in the second half of Minnesota.
And they lost.
And then he played really bad in the first half here. So I don't know if that can necessarily carry over week to week. Because he just showed that it doesn't.
I think more so what carries over is the mindset of getting the win, despite not being at your best. I think that carries over. It doesn't mean you're wanting to make mistakes, but it means if you do make mistakes, you can recover from them and walk out of there with a victory, which again is the end result, or is the end goal rather, and that was the result yesterday. 800-990-3776. I'm curious where people are this morning, because Gabe is happy with the win, especially on the road, man. You don't sneeze at, you don't scoff at.
You take the win.
Absolutely take the win. But you are saying the way that they got the win does not give you a ton of confidence going into this stretch of games.
What are our overall goals for the Packers? What are our overall thoughts of the Packers, right?
Got to be a playoff team, right?
Yeah.
Got to make the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
I would love to see them in the Super Bowl.
And yes, it's early October. You can't get to the Super Bowl in early October. But they are not playing like a team that it has those types of aspirations right now. Now, again, they can turn it around, but there are some deficiencies on this roster. The thing that makes me most nervous is that front seven. I just keep thinking, like, maybe this will be the week that Rashawn Gary shows up. I mean, at what point are we concerned about Rashawn Gary? Can we be concerned right now?
I think we're long past that.
Because I don't know how you turn that around. How does Rashawn Gary suddenly become the player that we all thought he was going to be this year?
The thing is, he's not even as good as he was last year, fresh off an ACL.
Yeah.
That's a big problem. You did see them running more stunts on that defensive front because they're not just beating their man.
Yeah.
Which is they're having to get creative up there, which opens up some run lanes if you make a bad decision for Jeff Hafley. Because you got guys
if you call it the wrong time,
right.
Next thing you know, there goes Kyron Williams again.
Uh-huh.
We got a lot of stuff to get to this morning. We will take a break here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. 800-990-3776. Reaction rolling in fast and furious on our ESPN Milwaukee talk and text line. Also, people having conversations on the YouTube page. Remember, you can always stream the show on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube page. We will get to some of your reaction right after this on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
It is Victory Monday, and it's brought to you by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza. With delicious brands like Palermo's, Connie's, Urban Pie, and Screamin' Sicilian, Palermo's has your game day covered. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
We have an accident now on 894 westbound to get onto 43 southbound in the Rock Freeway in the Hale interchange there. That ramp to get onto the Rock Freeway is closed because of a crash, so we're starting to see the delays through there. Otherwise, eastbound 94, a bit heavy from 76th Street all the way to 68th, and a little bit backed up again as you're coming out of the Stadium interchange on eastbound 94. Westbound's pretty clear right now. And check out the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Mostly sunny with a high of 65. Tonight, clear and cool, a low of 48 at the lake, 39 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Loziga on 94.5 ESPN.
How would you like to own a jewelry store?
Kessler's Diamonds is an employee-owned company.
And Kessler's is growing. Are you the kind of person we're looking for?
Does it make you happy to make other people happy?
Are you a problem solver?
Would you like to wake up every morning knowing that you're going to help a lot of people find joy today?
Kessler's Diamonds is people serving people.
Keep in mind that Kessler's is owned by its employees. So let me ask you this. Are you a good enough leader that you can be an owner who leads other owners?
Don't worry, you don't have to know about diamonds. We can teach you about diamonds. But the people we're looking for aren't looking for a job.
Did someone pop into your head just now?
Do you think you might know who we're looking for?
Give that person a call.
Send them an email.
Tell them to walk into Kessler's Diamonds and say to the person who greets them,
I think I want to work here.
Welcome to Kessler's.
A fantastic place to buy jewelry and a wonderful place to work.
For the store nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Hey you! Daydreaming about that perfect house again? Hi, it's John Reeds from Great Midwest Bank, and whether your dream includes buying or building or renovating your current home, I'm happy to report that mortgage rates are finally starting to turn around. So make those dreams a reality with a custom-fit Great Midwest Bank mortgage product. We've been serving Southeast Wisconsin homeowners for nearly 90 years. Find a local experienced loan officer at greatmidwestbank.com. We can't wait to get started. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
The Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra has document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems. Director of Ticket Operations and Group Sales, Luther Gray.
James Imaging has been a wonderful partnership with the Milwaukee Symphony and just great to work with.
In what ways?
If an issue does arise, they're very prompt, polite, and professional. It makes me feel empowered because I find it very easy to resolve something.
Luther James Imaging Systems is a local business technology company that stands with their clients over the long term.
Yes, before, during, and after the sale, James Imaging is there, and they are making sure you get the full value and life of every product that you have with them.
Luther, any advice for others looking for a long-term business technology partnership?
I would tell them that James Imaging is the way to go.
Start your business technology partnership with James Imaging Systems today. It's easy to do. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
It's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
I mean, pumpkin seeds.
No, little suckers. They might be. What did you say before, Jen?
Sesame, but those are white. Like
No,
white.
these aren't white. No, this isn't on the outside. This is on the inside.
Seeds on the inside.
Oh, so you got some sort of like
scrotum.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Back here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, and there is a lot of reaction rolling in this morning. Tone James says, I usually don't agree with Johnny Raincloud. However, today Gabe is completely correct.
Johnny Raincloud.
I like it. I dig it.
800-990-3776. People are torn on how they feel about the Packers this morning. It is a win. A lot of people saying we celebrate wins. We don't apologize for wins.
Nope.
Let's go out to Mo in Illinois. 800-990-3776. Mo, you're on with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Happy Victory Monday, indeed.
To you as well.
I'll never apologize. Thank you. I'll never apologize for a W. I never will, never have. But I'd like to echo kind of what Gabe has been saying. This front seven is extremely concerning, and especially when you take into consideration that the Rams were without, I think it's their top left tackle and left guard as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, if there's a game to get after an offensive line, it was this game. If there's a game for Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith and company to get back on track, it was this game. And unfortunately, we didn't see it. So, Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, I just feel like they're one-trick ponies. Like, they don't really have an arsenal to their pass rush. And I think that's really affecting the Packers because when the Packers did get any sort of pressure yesterday, I feel like that's when they brought the blitz. They were blitzing at least 5 or more guys. So the fact that they can't generate any pass rush from their, base line of 4-man rush or whatever, that's what concerns me the most, especially when you go up against teams like the Lions who have amazing, offensive lines. But other than that, I'm very proud of the young guys for stepping up, notably Kingsley and Egbare with the forced fumble. Carl Brooks looked amazing. So if these guys are producing and guys like Kenny Clark, Gary, Preston Smith are not, they need to start playing because this is a results-oriented business. And I don't care how much money you're making. Gary, Preston Smith, and Kenny Clark are just not getting the job done, and it needs to get better.
The pass rush thing from yesterday, when Romo pointed out that Stafford was rushing because he had been used to in previous weeks, he's got that internal clock and it's going off because he's receiving pressure. And now he's like, well, now he actually has all time. He's got all day. He has to make the adjustment of, I actually do have time. That's a pretty bad indictment on the front four for the Packers.
800-990-3776. Beth weighing in saying, I feel like I was watching Favre Jr. yesterday. Exciting, nerve-wracking, and successful sometimes. I think he will be just fine. Meanwhile, Jerry says, I'm convinced we could win the Super Bowl, and Gabe wouldn't be happy about it. Cheer up. It's a win on the road. Take the national hat off today. Is that happening, Gabe? Are you becoming more of a national talent? You're doing national radio, so now you have to look at things through national lenses?
Look, if you think the Packers played great yesterday and played like a Super Bowl team, I'm not going to be able to convince you. Let's take a poll. Did the Packers play like a Super Bowl team yesterday?
Oh, they didn't.
Josh, did the Packers play like a Super Bowl team yesterday? Okay, I don't feel bad for pointing that out.
But also, it's not January.
No,
it's October.
But there are things that are with Jordan Love. We know he can get better. I hope he gets better. He has to get better. Jordan Love, full on through 3 games, if the Packers are going to be a team that makes a run, has to play better, correct? He has to play better than he has through the first 3 games. Is that a correct statement?
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. You were riffing, so I was going to let you riff.
Yeah, so he needs to, but we've seen him play better. This front four, man. The best defenses are able to generate pressure with 4. How many times have we heard the big guy say it?
I've heard you say it about 17 times in the last week.
And they can't even sniff pressure. It doesn't even look like it's hard for the backups for the Rams to block the starters for the Packers. And I just don't know how that gets better. I don't know how that gets better throughout the course of the season. We're running out of excuses for Rashawn Gary.
It's so bad it makes me feel like I'm missing something. There's got to be some code, some reason, because even the most league average pass rushers are creating more pressure than Rashawn Gary is right now.
Yeah.
Kenny Clark just suddenly hit a cliff and fell off, like one of the most consistent players across the NFL in terms of what he's done and what he can do. It feels like I'm missing something, but I don't know what it is.
It's tough to, especially interior defensive line play. It's like hard to evaluate.
Right.
But I feel at least once or twice a game, you would see Kenny Clark either putting somebody on his ass or just like get in the back. Like, oh, how did he get there that quickly? I have not noticed. The only time I've noticed Kenny Clark was a couple of games ago when he got shoved on his ass, and then Quay Walker comes up and then just gets juked out of the hole. Like, those are about the only times I've noticed Kenny Clark.
That happened again yesterday.
Oh, did it?
Things. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just expect it with Quay at this point.
Halfley called a perfect blitz into the correct gap, and Quay missed it.
At what point do we have that conversation?
Not today. 800-990-3776. It is a Victory Monday here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Let's go out to the phone lines. Lots of folks waiting patiently on the line. Ainsley in Milwaukee. You're up next on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
I just want to echo off the last caller. He took a lot of my points, which was a struggle for me to come up with what I was going to say next. Gabe as well. But, I mean, I thought coming into the year that we were solid on defensive line. The linebackers are the suspect, and that the defensive backs are going to be a lot better. Run defense, I don't know if Wyatt being out is that much, but I'm going to have to hope that is the case because yesterday was not very good there. The snap on the punt, if we don't have a 6'5" punter, I don't see anybody catching that ball.
Yeah, I mean,
Narveson finally made a kick. You know, I thought that we were so cursed in the first half. I walked away from the game when he was going to kick. I was just like, okay, I'll see what happens afterwards.
I mean, they don't bring him out for the second half if he doesn't make that kick, right? Like, he just stays in the locker room.
He definitely has to get a place in Los Angeles. Okay? He's staying in Los Angeles.
I thought the Nervous Narveson nickname that was given to him by the broadcast.
By Nance?
Yeah, that was tough. That wasn't very nice. But I think that's the best one I've heard so far.
But it was accurate.
Yeah. From Jim Nance.
Yeah.
The man's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And he's the one going, Nervous Narveson.
But my reaction to it was good for him. Good for him. 46, good for him. Just starts stacking misses. Excuse me. Whoa. Good grief. What a Freudian slip that was by me.
He had been stacking misses.
Narveson, stack, makes. God bless America. 800-990-3776. Reaction rolling in fast and furious, guys. DJ in the Saw saying, visited my folks after the game yesterday and asked them, is Jordan Love good? Dad said no, mom said yes, and that is the problem. Quarterbacks should not be an eye of the beholder thing. History has taught us you don't give A+ money to C+ players. Nobody who is only good at their job half the time should ever earn top dollar. Feels like an overreaction.
Okay, I mean, Jordan Love's not a C+ player.
No. Okay, stop. We all watch the NFL. Who has been consistently through 5 weeks good? Jayden Daniels has been good the past 3 weeks.
And then he wasn't this week.
Right.
You know, the funny part to that, the actual answer to that question, Josh, is Joe Burrow and his team's 1-4.
Yeah.
I would even argue that Sam Darnold, even though there were some moments yesterday where he was not the Sam Darnold we have seen, has been pretty consistent, guys.
Joe Flacco looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the league yesterday. Do we think it's going to carry on throughout the rest of the season? Probably not. He probably is not going to have a job in 3 weeks because that's just the current state of quarterback play in the NFL. It's ups and downs. You got to catch lightning in a bottle in the playoffs for most of these guys, which is much the reason why Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs find themselves in Super Bowls every time they go out there. But
yeah, because they haven't looked good.
No.
Like, let's just use the defending champs for a moment as an example. Through how many weeks are we? I was confused. Football, college.
Well, they played today, so they're through 4 games.
We're through.
The rest
right,
is
correct.
5.
It's 5. Thank you very much. They played this evening. They have not looked good. They have not looked like a quote-unquote Super Bowl championship team. The only reason that you give them that luxury, the only reason you bestow on them that they could do it is because you've seen them do it.
Yeah, you know what? When the Packers win back-to-back Super Bowls, they'll get the benefit of the doubt the same way the Chiefs do.
Correct. That's it. You're giving them the benefit of the doubt. My point is, what you're doing right now in October is not necessarily indicative of what you will be doing at the end of the season.
No, but I mean, you want things to start falling into place and looking better. Because right now, the Packers have a little bit of last year's Dolphins to them.
But I could argue that walking out of there with the win things falling into place. That is things falling into place because you made mistakes. You did not play perfect, and it's very rare that you do play perfect, by the way. I think Matt LaFleur articulated that as well yesterday after the game. And yet, you still got the dub.
They have, again, right now the Packers have a feeling of last year's Dolphins, where, yeah, you're going to win a bunch of games. You got to play better against the good teams. And this doesn't give me faith that the good teams coming up on the schedule, that you're going to play better.
800-990-3776. Let's go out to Dan in Sheboygan. Dan, you're on with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Are you more in Gabe's camp of not great, Bob, or a win's a win?
Well, I think a win's a win, especially on the road against a team that made the playoffs last year without Romeo Doubs. Yeah, I think a win. I mean, I think it's a fantastic win. Well, I mean, this is basically Love's second game back after the injury. He didn't play a lot during training camp. He's still knocking off the rust. His second year as a starter in the league. He will get better. There's no reason to think he's going to regress.
Yeah, but this Rams team isn't the same team that made the playoffs a year ago. I mean, if you're saying the Packers are without Doubs, good for them. I mean, guess who's better than Romeo Doubs? Both Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. And the Rams were without them.
800-990-3776. Keep getting us your reaction this morning. Don't forget, we have Rob Demovsky every Monday during the season as well. We'll talk to him about that Romeo Doubs situation, what he believes is going on there, and, of course, talk about the Green Bay Packers. Football season is back, and I am excited to be back on campus with Celsius Energy Drink, which fuels my active lifestyle with their game day energy. Drink Celsius like me and college stars Travis Hunter, Jalen Milroe, Dylan Gabriel, and others. Explore all 27 refreshing flavors, sparkling or non-carbonated. There is a Celsius for every taste on game day. Celsius. Live fit.
Never miss out on a second of the show. Find Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand. Sponsored by Celsius Essential Energy Drink.
Well, looks like we got a problem in the Hale interchange. Westbound 894 to southbound on the Rock Freeway is closed right now, that ramp with the crash. Looks like it's a pretty serious one. So we got big delays heading back all the way back from about 68th Street all the way through. We got the eastbound side slowing down through the Highway 100 area all the way through the Hale, with folks slowing down to take a look. Westbound 94 looking okay, just a little tight through the stadium. Eastbound's a different story. We got delays from about Springdale Road through the Barker Road area, and then back on the brakes from 92nd Street all the way through the stadium. Southbound on 43 slowing down from before Hampton down to Capitol Drive. And check the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Mostly sunny, a high of 65. Tonight, clear and cool, a low of 48 at the lake, 39 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BUY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Are you ready to unleash the beast? Monster Energy is here to give you the edge this college tailgate season. Loaded with bold flavors, our powerful blend gives you the energy you need to push you beyond your limits. Tune in all season long with Monster, the energy drink of ESPN Radio College Football Tour. Power your performance with a drink that's as hungry for victory as you are. Crack open an ice-cold Monster and dominate your competition. Monster Energy. Unleash the beast. Grab yours today.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
It's football season, and Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for all the action on the gridiron. With a game-changing rewards program, plus an amazing selection of tickets, Vivid Seats ensures that every fan can catch their favorite teams and players in action. Vivid Seats has you covered with deals that cater to every football enthusiast. And all tickets come back by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Just visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
This college football moment is brought to you by ServPro.
College football teams have moments they recovered from and made it like it never even happened. For instance, TCU walked into the locker room at halftime in the 2016 Alamo Bowl, down 31-0. The Horned Frogs stormed into the second half and erased a 31-point deficit to force overtime, and eventually won it in the third overtime, 47-41.
ServPro, like it never even happened.
You're listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Can I be Chuck Woolery?
Yeah, Tiny Mike.
Tiny Mike.
Average.
I mean,
no, I want to ask the questions. Tiny Mike.
On 94.5 ESPN.
It is a Victory Monday, and it's brought to you by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza. Delicious brands like Palermo's, Connie's, Urban Pie, Screamin' Sicilian, Surfer Boy Pizza. Palermo's has your game day covered. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer.
Packers get the victory yesterday. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Gabe.
Yes.
You're happy with the win?
Correct.
But you're unhappy with the play?
Correct.
So did I just put words in your mouth?
No.
Those are the words that were in the mouth.
Yeah, you have interpreted the words correctly.
800
Johnny Raincloud sums it all up.
776.
Yeah, you're happy with the way they played yesterday,
Let's
Josh?
go out to D and DC. Let's see if D and DC was happy about the way they played yesterday. Good morning, D.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
We're good.
We're fantastic.
Awesome. Hey, I just want to, I think the positive, I mean, I'm with Gabe. I think I'm happy with the win. I'm upset with the play. I think my positive of yesterday was we didn't miss a kick yesterday. I thought that was excellent. And then I think my negatives were, I think one is catch the ball. You know, I mean, you look at Jordan's numbers, he was, 16 of 25, but, I mean, granted, Jayden Reed made an incredible catch, but he also dropped one at his hands, and Davian Wicks, dropped a couple that also hit his hand. So, his numbers, if you want to talk about, statistics up there with the greats, I mean, he could have been 19 of 25, 20 of 25, even though he did make a couple bad decisions. So I think catch the ball is a negative for me. And then the second one is our pass rush. And I'm interested in your guys' thoughts on what is Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith doing? And and you guys were just talking about paying, A+ money to C+ players. Where is Rashawn Gary in that equation? And does it seem like when he's rushing, he's kind of taken himself out of the play? He's rushing a little too high, and when Stafford's really just going to step up, in the pocket. I'm just interested in what your guys' thoughts on what's Rashawn and Preston doing that's not giving them the success that we expected.
I mean, for me, Preston Smith has been Preston Smith. Yeah. Of all the defensive linemen, I think Preston Smith is the one I'm least offended by because I'm not expecting him to be great. He's had a couple of sacks. That's all he's going to do at this point in his career. He's just going to be a solid guy over there. But if we're talking about Rashawn Gary's play, through 5 games, I mean, he's not even a C+ player. I mean, we went through last week, the one thing that he was always really good at was getting pressure. He is below average. Like the average NFL pass rusher, he is below that in generating pressure. And we're probably going to get, another excuse from the coaching staff for this upcoming week because you're going to be taking on Kyler Murray. And that was the excuse we used the first 2 weeks. Well, we're playing a rushing quarterback. We can't fully unleash the pass rush because we just kind of have to mush rush, make sure we keep the quarterback in the pocket. But I don't know what Rashawn Gary is doing. He doesn't have anything other than his bull rush. He has no move to go to, and it just seems like whoever's blocking him has an incredibly easy job.
Just a little bit of stat boy housekeeping here. I believe that Jordan Love was 15 of 26 for 224. As for the drops, Davian Wicks has been the guy who has been most guilty of that. There were 3 bad drops last week. I believe there were 2 more egregious drops in this game. He was targeted 7 times, guys, came up with it twice. that's an issue. And on a day when Christian Watson is out, Romeo Doubs is out for various reasons, that was an incident where Wicks needed to step up. Wicks has got to get this figured out. Gabe, I'm concerned, if I'm talking about the things that do concern me, with the penalties that the Packers continue to make week in and week out. I kind of thought that was an early season thing. Now, you could make the argument it is still early season, so they have time to get the penalties cleaned up. But that is one. But the dropsies is very problematic. That is something that I am concerned is going to hurt this team. Some of these things, they don't hurt them, right? They're mistakes. For instance, I still say that pass that Jayden Reed somehow miraculously pulled in with three defenders around him at the goal line. I don't know if I wanted him. I know I didn't want him to make that play. And Matt LaFleur said similarly after the game. But it didn't really hurt them. The drops, I think, are going to hurt them down the road.
Unfortunately, that might just be part of Davian Wicks' sophomore season. I think Davian is still going to be very good going forward. Because, again, we keep looking at the stat. Pro Football Focus, 80% of the routes he runs, he ends up open. Like, that's very good, and that's very hard. Devante Adams had problems with drops in his second season. Not saying that eventually he's going to be, on a Hall of Fame track, but, it could be something he just deals with this season. We have to deal with it and be patient with it, but it is hard to be patient when you're without two of your other four guys. On the flip side of that, I know Jayden Reed had a drop yesterday. Jayden Reed's playing like a top 5 wide receiver in this league.
Correct.
Like that's...
I want to be clear. Do drops happen? Absolutely. Yeah. But the pace with which Davian Wicks is dropping the ball is what appears problematic. That's what appears like this could be a thing. I think I read online that he has been targeted 20 times over the last 2 games. He has 7 receptions.
13 last week and 7 this week, yes. 20 times. Because he gets open. Also, was the last play, is that a drop on him?
The one where he had to jump, it went through his hands.
It was also, it got deflected.
Right through his hands.
It got deflected, though.
But also, if Jordan Love leads him, he just runs under it and keeps running for a touchdown. Like
that was on Love.
I think that was, Love could have put him in a better spot, yes. Are you going to hit every receiver on the deep ball perfectly in stride? No. But if you put that, it was kind of some of the things we saw first half Jordan Love last year of not putting the ball out in front of his receivers enough on those deep balls, and he had to slow down and try to back shoulder it with a defender on him. When he could have, if it's out in front, he's able to go and make a better play on it.
Wicks is one of those cases, and I fell into this trap. You mentioned Devante Adams. A guy that gets open that much is a guy that's going to keep seeing the ball. Unfortunately, it might be an issue that carries on through the season, like you said. Like, he might not rectify this year, and there's going to be a lot of missed target and missed opportunities. I think Packers fans have to sort of pump the brakes. I started seeing you're not going to see the field, or you're not, like, a guy that gets open that often and is creating that much separation is just a guy you have to play.
Okay, but at some point, do you then, excuse me, at some point, do you then criticize Jordan Love if he continues to go to a guy who is not reliable? Like at some point, and here's 100%. But here's what I will say: if you're Jordan Love, you don't want your quarterback having that split second of, should I throw it to that guy who catches the ball? What are we talking now? 20% of the time, or should I throw to a different guy who is 60% completion, even if he's in triple coverage? You know what I mean? Like, you don't want your quarterback having to make that decision in those split seconds.
I don't think Jordan's going to do that.
I'm not saying right now, but I'm saying if this trend continues, you're going to have, to your point, Davian Wicks wide open because he gets separation, and you're going to have Jordan Love in his head in those split seconds going, but that's a 20% completion, where over here it's a 60% completion, even if Jayden Reed is covered by 2 guys.
I think Jordan's going to continue to throw to the open guy. I don't think he's going to care who it is, even if the drops continue. Again, I think Davian, yes, it was 7 targets yesterday. It's not like he dropped 5 passes.
But I disagree that doesn't start to creep into your consciousness. I disagree that you don't start to go, is that a smarter play given what we know? These are all data points, right? We talk about this all the time with everything.
Yeah.
You can't sit there and ignore the data points.
What I'm saying is, of the 20
targets
he's had the last 2 weeks, it's not like every incompletion's been a drop. Like, some of those are bad passes. Some of those are wide passes. Has he had drops? Absolutely. But Jordan also needs to, again, I think Davian only had 1 drop yesterday. I'm not putting the last one on him. So you got to be more accurate when you're throwing to Davian Wicks.
I do think it's clear now I think pretty evident that the reason he was fourth is because of those inconsistencies in that depth chart. The Packers are making a decision on who they're comfortable with and who's going to be consistent. And now we're seeing, he's open, but he's not making the catches all the time.
Are you sure? Because remember when I tried to make a case that maybe they were trying to hide him on the depth chart? They were like, he's going to be their number one receiver, but don't tell anybody. Let's put him fourth on the depth chart and surprise everybody with Davian Wicks.
I think it's one of those things, too, where because he gets open so often, even if he drops a couple, who cares?
Yeah.
Because, it's a 60% completion over here, but this guy's not getting open all the time.
Yeah.
You have a guy who gets open
Romeo
all the
Doubs,
time, like it's just going to... It's going to be better for everybody going forward.
800-990-3776. Zach says a win on the road against McVay, regardless of how injured they were, is a good win. Green Bay was also without Watson, Doubs, Jair, and Wyatt, all big-time contributors for this team. When you layer in the Doubs distraction and a trip across the country, as it relates to Jordan's completion percentage, he had another 3 or 4 drops that would have extended drives and increased his completion percentage. This team will be fine. I guess we got to get to the Doubs thing, huh? It's been this big old elephant, this Alabama elephant hanging out in the room. Doubs not playing, Doubs suspended by the Green Bay Packers this weekend. We'll get to that right after this on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
You've probably heard about employee stock ownership plans before, but what separates Fifth Third Bank from others when it comes to these plans? A succession plan that benefits business owners and employees, from full and partial sales, second stage transactions, repurchase obligation financing, and seller note refinancing. ESOPs can offer tax advantages, increased liquidity, employee incentives, and overall diversification of net worth to help your company plan for the future. Fifth Third Bank National Association. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
Jen Latta here from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. I have told you about the delicious pizza you can find at Proof Pizza inside St. Kate. Now there's even more to be excited about with new sandwiches on the menu. Available every day from 11 to 4, you can enjoy options like the turkey pesto, the meatball hero, the Italian hoagie, and more. Skip the same old lunch at your desk and grab a delicious sandwich from Proof instead. Order inside the restaurant or directly from the bar at St. Kate. Explore the new sandwiches and the rest of the menu at proofpizzamke.com.
At Great Midwest Bank, we've been serving Southeast Wisconsin homeowners for nearly 90 years. Wait, 2024 minus 1935, 89 years. Wow. In our 89 years as a community bank, we've learned a lot about the values of the people who live and work here and appreciate the loyal customers that have made Great Midwest Bank who we are today. Find a location at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local, equal housing lender and member FDIC.
They say seeing is believing, and when you see what's inside at American Place Casino, you better believe you're gonna love it. Because when it comes to amazing gaming, we're a real game changer. With the most exciting of table games like blackjack, craps, and roulette, the newest slots, a sportsbook, restaurants, bars, and more. So if you're ready for excitement, we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game.
Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check that your seats aren't in the visitor section first, before buying tickets.
I'm so excited for this game. I can't believe you got us tickets.
Me too. Wait, are we on the wrong side?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
This is going to be a long game.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's 1 week to deal at Ewald Automotive Group, October 1st through 7th. Shop over 500 quality pre-owned vehicles with rates as low as 4.9%. 4.9% on our best used vehicles at 10 locations. All inspected and ready for winter. Plus, we'll pay top dollar for your trade. Don't miss 1 week to deal through October 7th.
Go to EWaldAuto.com.
To well-qualified customers up to $20,000 financed for up to 48 months. See dealer for details. Expires October 7th.
Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Kyle Walls for Universal Windows Direct. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you get 2 free. Buy 2, get 2. Buy 4, get 4. Call 414-410-2000 to schedule your free in-home estimate today. Fall is here, and it's the perfect time to replace those old, drafty windows. And remember, for every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free. Plus 0% financing for 60 months. Restrictions apply. For the last windows you'll ever need, go to UWD.com, and like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Ryan and McGuanago weighing in. Hey, if you find something that sucks for 25 years, you hold on to that.
Yeah, that is very good point.
Because usually the sucking only happens before you get married, and then the sucking just stops.
We're going to get fired.
Yeah. On 94.5 ESPN.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to our conversation tomorrow. So I fully anticipate him coming back, and I'm hopeful that he'll come back and get ready to work. And, distractions happen in the National Football League. Distractions happen in life. And you got to do your best to just focus on the task at hand. And I thought our guys did a pretty good job of that.
Back here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, what the hell's going on with Romeo Doubs? What is going on with Romeo Doubs? There was a report late last week, headed into game weekend, that he is frustrated with his usage and he didn't show up to practice. I believe it was Thursday and Friday.
Correct.
And meetings on Thursday and Friday. So this wasn't like a physical thing of like, I can't practice, but I can attend meetings as we prepare for the Los Angeles Rams. No, he didn't go to meetings or to practice on Thursday or Friday, unhappy with his role in the Packers passing game. This was shocking to me. I did not see this coming. I don't know that anybody saw this coming. We have not gotten word. There has been no indication. This is not on a resume of Romeo Doubs that says he is a disgruntled guy. He is a malcontent. He's the type of guy who is counting catches. But apparently, and again, we can only go off of what we have. Apparently, we were wrong. Here's a guy who allowed his frustrations to have him make very poor decisions, which is not showing up for your team on Thursday and Friday, headed into a big game on Sunday. And the team then subsequently punished him with a suspension. And Matt LaFleur mentioned they are going to talk today. Maybe this whole thing gets ironed out. I am optimistic, which seems to be the theme of the day, Gabe, that they will work this out, because Matt LaFleur, for all the things that we joke around about or criticize with him, he is a player's coach. He takes falls on the sword for them, takes the blame, even when he is not to blame in situations. And I believe in this situation, similarly, he will sort of see where Doubs is coming from to his face, and they will figure out a way to get him back out on the field. That's what I am optimistic about. Do you feel similarly that this situation will be a one-weekend situation and not a season-long development?
I want to, but again, everything I know about Romeo Doubs is now into question because of what happened last week. When I saw initially, he missed Thursday for personal reasons. Okay. And then you see he missed Friday before the Huber report came out from Sports Illustrated. He missed Friday again for personal reasons. And LaFleur was like, yeah, I'd stay today. We're not quite sure if he's going to be available. At that point, you're thinking, because again, at this point through 2 seasons and 4 games, Romeo Doubs has been nothing but an exemplary teammate. You're going, man, I hope everything's okay. And whatever's going on with Romeo is, hopefully, if he plays Sunday, he doesn't play Sunday, I hope everything personally is okay with him, whatever he's dealing with. And then the report comes out that his limited role in September was the root of Doubs' frustration. That coming from Bill Huber. So now everything I know about Romeo Doubs, I don't know. I don't know anything about Romeo Doubs.
So this
I'm with you. I hope it's resolved. But if you go back and listen to that clip, LaFleur goes, oh, yeah, we'll get this resolved. Well, I hope we get it resolved. Like, he even hedges halfway through that clip.
So there's a lot of things going on here, and I do wish that Chewy was with us. We will have to revisit this tomorrow when he's here, but Chewy warned us against this. For every moment that we were sitting here singing the praises of a 5-headed monster, sitting here going, this is going to be so great. You never know who's going to be the guy on any given day. Chewy was like, hey, pump the brakes, because players have egos. And those egos often lead them to wonder, why not me? Why am I not getting the ball? I should be getting the ball. And every time I don't get the ball is a opportunity for the team to give me less money going forward, or another team to give me less money. And so even though he's not here, I do think that we have an obligation, Joshy, to,
Chewy was right. Holy Chewy was right.
It's not the same unless I get to see his dumb little face smile.
It's
little
true.
giggle.
You know what? We could do it again tomorrow. We know when he's back from his vacation. There are people on the talk and text line wondering if he is okay, since we haven't heard from him in quite a long time. As far as we know, he is okay.
So we got another text over the weekend declaring the Brewers chokers. So we had that. So we have had very limited communication,
but communication nonetheless.
Yeah, it's come through.
He seemed to just pop his head out whenever there's a dance on our graves to make us feel a little worse, to knock us down a couple pegs. The interesting thing about Romeo Doubs is he wasn't particularly left out of the offense.
No.
Which makes it even more confusing of a thing. Like, Malik Willis played 2 games. There wasn't a lot of passes to go around.
Well, and it's not like he was trailing. So through 4 games, Reed and Wicks had 22 targets. He had 20.
Right.
It's not like it was a huge gulf. It was 2 plays in 4 games.
Yeah, it almost seems like, and we're trying to figure this out, but it seems like he's not happy enough with, like, he's not a focal point. He's not above and beyond everyone else. He's like in a tier of 3 guys, which his production just hasn't been there.
Okay, so this is what I want to go back to Chewy, what Chewy has said. Remember, Chewy always tells us the story of how when he didn't get targets in a game, what did his coach always do? What did Holmgren make sure to do?
Got you this week.
Got you this week. Got you next week. We got you. So there's a part of me that wonders if those conversations are not taking place because again, guys, I don't want to sit here and make Matt LaFleur blameless. Okay. If you've got a player who is marinating in frustration and they are gnashing their teeth and they don't want to be there and stuff, you got to know that. You got to recognize that and you got to nip it in the bud. You got to get in his face and be like, hey, I've noticed that you are lagging on some of your routes. Is everything okay? Oh, okay. It's not okay. Okay, well, what?
But what if he wasn't lagging on his route? What if there was really no sign until he didn't show up Thursday?
Was there really no sign? Aren't there some things that Romeo Doubs have done? Didn't he throw his helmet or something like that? Threw up his arms on an interception off of Musgrave a week or so ago? There have been things where he has been showing frustration on the field.
And to add to that, that was the route that Matt LaFleur said he ran the wrong route. And the fact that the day of install was the first day he missed and no-showed feels like he was not happy with either him going to them and him saying, like, hey, why aren't I a bigger factor? And them not then translating that, or he just wasn't happy with what the plan was.
I mean, I don't even think the conversation, like, why would LaFleur have the conversation with the guy who's got the 3rd most targets on the team? In terms of, oh, hey, I didn't get you last week. Because they did.
Yeah.
Like, he was getting 2 of the 4 games that he has played in, limited opportunities because they weren't going to throw the ball a lot with Malik Willis.
Because that's what being a leader requires.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I understand what you're saying. You're like, unless it was egregious, unless it was in Matt LaFleur's face that this guy's having a tough time, that this guy is frustrated, he might not recognize it. But the point is, somebody needed to. Because you don't let something like this. Look, personalities, there's a wide gulf of personalities. And you cannot allow one guy's personality quirks to sideline the whole team, to undermine the whole team. This was the perfect week for Romeo Doubs to be a focal point of the offense with Christian Watson out. And and obviously he let his emotions get the best of him. I am not saying he is blameless. I am not saying Romeo Doubs handled it perfectly. I'm saying somebody needed to recognize that this guy was starting to fray a little bit, and somebody needed to say, what's going on over here? Hey, how can we help? How can we make it better? Oh, you haven't been getting the ball as much as you'd like to? We're going to fix that going forward. Can't promise that we're going to do it right now. Can't promise it'll be this week.
But why would you fix it going forward? Like, there's nothing there to fix.
I'm saying
there's nothing. So just lie
even
to
if
him?
you disagree that it's a problem, he clearly thinks it is. And part of leadership is recognizing when even if you don't think something is a problem, how could that person perceiving it to be a problem unravel the whole operation?
That's easy. Then you just cut or trade him. If that's what it's, because I'm just looking at the pure numbers. If he's like, oh, I need the ball more, man. Like, okay, we'll get you 2 more targets and tie you with those guys over the next 4 games. Like, half of a target a game is what we're talking about. Half of a target. And if he's going to be that upset, then man, you can't be here. You can't be a team player. Now maybe he gets it back together. Maybe we get more information about this. But dude. There are plenty of teams looking for an extra wide receiver because they're injured at that position right now. Not that the Packers would get a first-round pick or a day 2 pick for him right now. But to me, if that's what it comes down to, I need the ball more because you're not that good. Are you a good player? Yeah. Are you a number 1 in this league? No. Jason has said it how many times comparing him to James Jones? James Jones could never be your number 1. You can have a really good NFL career. You can have a really nice NFL career as James Jones as a 2/3. But you're not good enough where you need to be demanding that many more targets than Jayden Reed and Davian Wicks. I mean, we've gone over the bona fides of those guys. Wicks gets open 80% of the time. Jayden Reed is top 5 right now in the NFL in receiving yards. What are the bona fides of Romeo Doubs? What's he doing that separates him from all these other guys that he should be demanding the football more to the point where he's not showing up if he doesn't get it?
Well, he and Jordan Love worked out together in the offseason. I don't know if you remember that. That should go somewhere on the resume.
They triple cover him.
We're working.
We also heard about Rashawn Gary and how unstoppable he was in
We're
preseason.
working over here on the Romeo Doubs defense team. I don't know if you picked up on that.
I hope they work it out. They're a better team with him, without a doubt. But they're a better team with the guy that shows up and is willing to work as part of the team.
And I will say this. It would have been easy for the Green Bay Packers, Brian Gutekunst and company, to ignore this and not discipline Romeo Doubs for conduct detrimental to the team. That would have been easy, especially you go, we don't have Christian Watson this week. We're going to need Doubs to beat the Rams. And they said, nope. Can't let this type of behavior continue. Cannot allow him to turn the tide. Cannot allow other people to believe that this behavior doesn't go unchecked. And so they did. That was a tough thing, right? Because other than the report that was out there, they could have ignored it. Could have just let him get back out on the field and be a member of the offense and done what they've been doing for weeks.
Yeah, but the team, everybody in the locker room knows. And you got it much like...
That's why I'm saying they had to do this. I'm sorry. It was a good thing that they did it because outside of the locker room, no one really knows that. We still don't know the specifics. But you could have said, not this week. This week we need to win a game. This week we need him out there in order to win a game, so we'll handle it next week. We'll tack a punishment onto this week's something.
But, I mean, again, especially after what we saw last year and how they handled Jair, I mean, that was a big game that they needed Jair for because they were in we have to win out mode to make the playoffs. Still suspended Jair late in last season. Yeah, it would have been nice if he was out there, but they've shown that they will handle it. I don't care who you are. You do something like this, we have to suspend you. We have to send that message to everybody else that, hey, it's not acceptable. And I don't know. I know that in the statement, Gutekunst expressed optimism. I know LaFleur expressed optimism yesterday. I hope they're right, but also I feel just in that situation, they almost have to express optimism in order to get this actually done. A lot of this relies on Romeo Doubs, and if he doesn't feel any different, he's not showing up for practice on Wednesday. He didn't show up Thursday, Friday. Maybe he comes to his senses and comes back. I don't know. I honestly have no idea how this plays out.
800-990-3776. Lots of reaction rolling in. Ryan says, if CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson acted this way, I would kind of understand. But Doubs is a 2-3 wide receiver at best. I hope everything is okay with him and he's back, but the situation is mind-boggling. Ron in the Key says, I think Doubs has played his last snap for Green Bay. I think he gets traded. Brandon making the connection in the 920 saying, Rodgers didn't talk to Doubs, but he sure gave him the diva bug. Kind of like it. And then didn't know about the targets. It doesn't make sense. I could see if Musgrave would ask for the ball more, but not Doubs. That from Andrew in the 608.
It kind of feels like a guy who just realized he's the third best option of those like route runners there. Because Christian Watson's a whole different animal than the other two. Mm-hmm. But when it comes down to it, who's open the most and who's productive the most? So far, we've seen the two other guys. And it's not simply because they're getting more targets, as Gabe showed us. But it seems like you're the third best option.
What a short-sighted, immature,
remarkably.
Allegedly, because again,
right.
We know what we know, position to take. Like, roles exist for a reason. Mm-hmm. You know, again, we have touted the greatness of having a lot of wide receivers and not necessarily a number one de facto wide receiver. And yet we always thought that a number one would emerge. And I believe we are seeing Jayden Reed taking that spot as the number one wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, a favorite target of Jordan Love. But man, if you're around football as long as you've been and you don't understand that everybody is eventually going to get slotted where they go, you're just obtuse. You just don't get it. It's how it works in everything. Our show, we got roles. You do this. You do all the things. I do minimal things. Chewy does the minimalist thing.
He just shows up.
Right. That's his role.
Yeah.
You know, we all sort of go, it's fine. We'll take a break. Be right back after this.
It's 1 week to deal at Ewald Automotive Group. Shop 500 quality pre-owned vehicles with rates as low as 4.9% on their best used vehicles with 10 locations, all inspected and ready for winter. I hate that word. Winter? I guess we're in October. I guess we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
But so you want to make sure your vehicle's ready for winter. Ewald Automotive Group has you covered. Plus, they're going to pay top dollar for your trade-in. Don't miss out. Make a deal through today at 2 p.m. Customers receive up to $20,000 finance for up to 28 months. See dealer for details. Expires October 7th.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
The ramp from westbound 894 to southbound on the Rock Freeway in the hail, that is closed right now because of a serious accident. So we've got delays basically from 27th Street stretching all the way through to that point. Eastbound, of course, everybody's slowing down to take a look at what's going on. So we got backups from the county line all the way through the hail. We've also got eastbound on 94, an accident just east of Highway 83. It's off on the left shoulder. It's bad enough to make for some nasty delays all the way out to about Sawyer Road. And then we've also got another accident on northbound 94. This one is right past Ryan Road. So watch out for that. That's just basically just north of Putes. It's off on the left shoulder there. So that's going to be tying things up in that area as well. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Today, mostly sunny, a high of 65. Tonight, clear and cool, low of 48 at the lake, 39 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Are you looking for a reliable ride? I've got you covered. It's ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Latta. I use AccuTrans Group for my private transportation needs during the college football season. AccuTrans is a veteran-owned business dedicated to providing unmatched corporate, personal, and event-related transportation that you will use again and again. From corporate travel and weddings to group events, AccuTrans Group caters to every occasion. Booking is easy, safe, and dependable. Visit AccuTransGroup.com to get a quote or to book a reservation today for reliable and safe transportation.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack, and football season is here. Are you ready to make some money? Have you bet on sports before? That probably did not go great. I can help you make money. Go to fatjacksports.com and get dialed in to turn a profit. The picks are emailed to you. They're on your personal portal on the website, and you can pay less than $50 a week for longer packages to make money betting this football season. Fatjacksports.com, the only place you need to go. 100% transparent, and will turn you profit this season at fatjacksports.com.
You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee, a Good Karma Brands radio station. Showtime. The right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Love, deep drop, deep throw. 3 Rams are down there, but it's caught by the Packers. Jayden Reed at the 1-yard line. Jacobs bouncing. Gonna cut it outside, and Jacobs waiting for the signal, touchdown.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Coming after him, Young. Just heaves it. Somehow is caught for the touchdown on the pick six. What a bizarre play that is. That's McCullough. Wide open. He's got Kraft. Tight ends running with stiff arm. Kraft's going the distance. Tucker Kraft. He plays the game the way it was meant to be played.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Down the field, intercepted. And a fifth straight game. McKinney has an interception again.
You take your shot. It's one-on-one everywhere.
Pass incomplete. And no flag. Parkinson was the target. Evan Williams defended it. And the Packers are going to hold on.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Now live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamora. Here's Jen Latta.
I said it an hour ago. I will say it again. We don't apologize for wins. Packers got the victory 24-19 over the Rams on the road without Christian Watson, without Jair Alexander and several other players, without Romeo Doubs, who we just discussed here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. If you missed any of that conversation, you could find it on Wisconsin On Demand. I'm sure we will discuss it with Chewy tomorrow as well when he is back in the chair. But we did talk about his perspective on players and egos and whatnot. So again, if you missed any of it, find it on Wisconsin On Demand. I am optimistic. I think a win is a win. And yes, there were things the Packers could have done better. And I think they will continue to grow and learn and evolve from those things to the tune of a playoff run. This is a playoff team. Nothing they did yesterday or didn't do yesterday changes my opinion on that. Gabe is a little more cautious. There are things they did yesterday that make your eyebrows go up, Gabe. There are things that they did yesterday that make you question whether or not this is one of the best teams in the league.
I mean, right now they're not one of the best teams in the league. I think that's painfully obvious. Do I think Jordan Love can continue to grow? Yeah, because we knew going in that there were some things that he was going to have to continue to grow. 5 interceptions in the 3 games he played, not great. Need to clean that up, certainly, as he had another just inexplicable one yesterday. But for me, it comes down to more of the front seven. Because if you want to be a championship squad, you've got to get more out of that front seven. Especially once Jair gets back and the way Xavier McKinney's playing. And then we saw Bullard drop down, play more slot, get Evan Williams. I mean, they have options in the secondary. They've got options, which is great.
I do feel like we have not given enough credit today, specifically, to Xavier McKinney. You and I both think that he is the, for lack of a better term, X factor on this Packers team. When asked who has been the most important player for the Green Bay Packers besides Jordan Love, you and I both said it's been Xavier McKinney. The attitude that he has brought to that secondary, the idea of taking the ball away and making these big plays, it feels like it has sort of spread to the other playmakers, to the other guys out there, Gabe. And so I don't know what the stat is. I think it was like 5 in 5 or something that had never been done since like Charles Woodson. You probably have it in front of you over there.
I don't.
But the point is, for all the conversations we have been now talking about the Green Bay Packers game yesterday for an hour and 12 minutes approximately, and we are now just getting to the significance and the impact that Xavier McKinney has had on that defensive back group.
Can the Packers defense be this mediocre and Xavier McKinney still be the defensive player of the year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the rest of the defense, again, everything in front of them is not great. And I don't know if the defensive player of the year can come from a defense like that, but I mean, he continues. I mean, I don't think he's going to have 17 interceptions, although that would be sick. I mean, the way he's playing, the impact that he's having, because he had a really good fumble recovery and return yesterday on top of the interception that he had 5 in 5 games. Like, Xavier McKinney is playing like a defensive player of the year candidate, saving a lot of the other defense. I just don't know what to do with the front four. I don't know if there's anything they can do for the front four.
Well, I've had a few people on the ESPN Milwaukee talk and text line say, can they go out and get a guy? Can they go out and get somebody who could elevate the pass rush, who could elevate the defensive line?
Maybe. I mean, the only time we've really seen that in season is when Washington Commanders kind of inexplicably held a fire sale last year before the trade deadline, traded away a lot of their talent that they did not want to pay. I mean, typically that's what you have to run into. You have to run into a situation where there is a talented pass rusher that the team that currently has him does not want to pay him. We saw it with Hassan Reddick this offseason going from the Eagles to the Jets. We saw it, as I mentioned last year, with a couple of different members of Washington. Sweat ends up going from Washington to Chicago. They pay him right away, and he's had an impact there. So that's what you have to hope for, that somebody's coming up on a deal. They don't want to pay that guy, and maybe they end up trading him to get something at the deadline. That's the only way you can get something done.
Excuse me for being maybe a little blunt here. I don't think you even need top end. I think if you're bringing in average to above average, you're improving your pass rush. And maybe you can mix and match guys to create enough pressure, things along that line. Like it is that bad. The Packers are 32nd in pass rush win rate, 30th in run stop.
That's what I was going to ask. I was going to say, where are they against the run?
Yeah, yes, very bad. 32 and
They
30th.
haven't added more teams. This isn't like college football where there's now like 120 teams and ranking 32nd is not bad.
Quick run down the numbers here. Nope, still 32.
Okay, damn it. I was hoping. Maybe they added some teams to the league and I just wasn't aware.
Where would you even add teams? Just out of curiosity, are there cities out there where you're going? They are starving.
I mean,
for an
Chicago
NFL
could get a
team.
second one. Kind of do some of these other things.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Portland gets one.
Montana, they've been craving a pro team for a while.
Something. Get a stadium right outside. Like the Mount Rushmore or something in the Dakotas.
Right now, Green Bay is defensively middle of the pack. You mentioned that they are very bad in those categories, which is fair, but they're very good in the takeaways, which elevates them to about middle of the pack in the league. And the good news about takeaways, of course, is that it gives Jordan Love and the offense more opportunity to make plays, to put up points, to put them in a better position to win games. I'm not going to ever scoff at the takeaways, but to your point, it would be nice if it was more balanced. It would be nice if that front four was getting pressure and putting them in a better position to succeed.
The problem about takeaways is you can't always rely upon them. So when you're playing the better teams that take care of the football better, then you need to have your defensive line, your linebacker step up and be able to make plays, get off the field on third down instead of relying on Xavier McKinney literally doing things that Matt LaFleur said he's never seen before, which is, and
it's not just Matt LaFleur.
Keep doing those things, Xavier. Keep doing things that your head coach has never seen before. I'm always happy when you do those things. But he's been a great eraser for this defense, without a doubt.
With Xavier McKinney at 5 interceptions through 5 games, obviously that's not going to be 17 interceptions in 17 games, even though we've seen no evidence that won't be the case. What do we set
other than nobody's ever done it in league history before?
What do we set his over-under at for season interceptions? Because he's at 5. It feels like I said the number 9.5.
So the Packers' record is 10.
By who?
Somebody in the 40s.
Oh, okay.
Woodson, there's a bunch of guys. I think Woodson had 9 in his Defensive Player of the Year season. There's a bunch of guys that have had 9. 11? Is 11 too greedy? Set the record?
Woodson had 9 interceptions, 3 pick sixes, 18 passes defensed, 4 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 2 sacks, and a partridge in a pear tree in 2009 when he won Defensive Player of the Year.
The touchdowns are the thing that are going to have to come for him to win Defensive Player of the Year, even if he keeps racking up interceptions.
That's the tough part for DBs, yeah. If he has 17 interceptions and doesn't win the Defensive Player, we're on the same page there. He has an interception in every game. He gets D points.
If he sets the NFL record, I think he's safe at that.
Okay.
How about what the hell was the Giants doing? Why was he just available and out there? But that is...
I don't know if you paid attention to the offseason Hard Knocks, Josh, but
it feels like
when you're a dumpster fire of an organization,
you make bad decisions.
It feels like Xavier McKinney was just smacking him over the head with, this is a guy you want on your team. He was a team captain at like 24 years old. The guy is super productive. And I'm not taking away from the fact that Jeff Hafley found the perfect guy for the system he wants to run. Like, this is the ideal Xavier McKinney place. But even then, less than ideal, he's that good. He is a game changer for an entire team.
You had to save all that money, Josh, to give it to Saquon Barkley, who you didn't give it to anyway. Just let him walk away.
It's baffling.
I'm glad they made that and bungled that.
I guess I wonder, with the people asking if they can do anything to improve the pass rush, if you would be in favor of them going out and getting somebody. I know we talked about how teams do not separate from, they do not make the mistake that the Giants did, which is to say, oh, we got a really, really good player, maybe generational player here. Let's just let him go test the free agency situation.
I mean, maybe you play Engebare a little bit more. It's just so tough because who are you taking? Are you taking Rashawn Gary off the field? You want to talk about having tough conversations. I mean, especially because they continuously try to tell everybody that he is going to have an impact. Obviously, the front office decided to pay him all that money. The tough part of, okay, who are you taking off the field? Because Preston Smith has been solid. He's been fine. But even when you put Lucas Van Ness, who you've put a first-round pick in, he hasn't really done a ton. Engebare's probably been the best edge rusher that they've had through 5 games. They would have to have a tough conversation with one of the guys they currently have. I would be certainly in favor of upgrading that position if you can find a way to upgrade that position. But it probably includes taking Rashawn Gary off the field more than they want to right now.
Right now, as of last game, he played 63% of snaps, Van Ness 54, Smith 50, and Engebare 36. It feels like the right move is JJ to get more snaps there. He's only getting 36%, and Gary might just become like a full rotational until he proves he can do more. You're getting 50%, and we're giving Kingsley some of those snaps. That's just how it has to go.
We're going to put that on the Jen, Gabe, and Chewy Twitter poll this morning. Would you be in favor of upgrading at that position, whether that is internally, Gabe, or whether that is externally? Go ahead and weigh in on that. We got to take a break. Don't forget, we have Rob Demovsky coming up at the bottom of the hour. We'll ask him about all things related to the Green Bay Packers, including the Romeo Doubs situation. That's coming up after this.
It doesn't matter what age you are. Low testosterone can be an issue with any guy. That's where Mentality comes in. Local healthcare facilities specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. If you have low testosterone, like I did. Maybe you're tired, groggy, just don't feel like yourself. Don't have that energy to attack your day the way you did a year or two ago. Those could all be signs of low testosterone. To figure out if it is, go to lowtusa.com, book your appointment, go through the process with Mentality, and if you do have low testosterone, then you can start working with Mentality, again, like I did. They can get your levels right where they need to be so you can compete at work and sports like you did years ago. Go to lowtusa.com. Mentality allows treatment to fit into every guy's lifestyle. Learn more about Mentality and their low testosterone treatments at lowtusa.com.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
Eastbound on 94, just past Highway 83, that earlier accident that was on the left shoulder has been cleared. Still seeing delays, though, so just be careful with that. Still have this closure on 43 southbound, the Rock Freeway, in the Hale interchange because of this crash. So big delays on eastbound 894, pretty much from Loomis all the way into the Hale. We've got an accident on 894 northbound, just about at Lincoln, off on the right shoulder. Another one on northbound 94, right about at Putes. It's off on the left shoulder as well. Now, as for delays, we've got eastbound 94 basically heavy out of the Zoo interchange all the way to 35th Street. The westbound side's going to be slow from 27th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, mostly sunny, a high of 65. Tonight, clear and cool, low of 48 at the lake, 39 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
What happens when you mix a 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year with a Packers Hall of Famer?
I'm not going to get into the Kringle turnover game, so that's what it needs to be.
Kringle
I think his legs. Yeah.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Like the pastry Are you guys turnovers. being serious? You guys can't put two. I got it. I did not get it.
They don't call themselves Racine Danish turnovers.
Sorry. Sometimes I wonder about you two, man.
Catch him from 9 to noon right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Looking for a totally rad flavor adventure, brochachos? Look no further than Surfer Boy Pizza as seen in Stranger Things. Each mouth-watering variety contains rich tomato sauce, delicious mozzarella cheese, and a gnarly range of toppings. The crust is crispy on the outside and airy on the inside. You'll think it was hand-tossed by the Surfer Boy Pizza dudes themselves. Look for it in the freezer aisle at your local store and buckle up your taste buds with Surfer Boy Pizza.
Ready to tackle your home improvement project this fall? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. As a 5-time President's Club Award winner, Exterior Pros is not playing around. With flexible financing, it's never been easier to invest in your home without breaking the bank. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation today.
Hey, Milwaukee sports fans. It's Brad Nortman from Kyle Brust and Nortman. You've invested too much into that nice ride, so don't settle for a gas station car wash. Treat it to a Tsunami Express car wash. State-of-the-art wash technology, powerful free vacuums, and unlimited wash memberships. Now with 5 locations across Greater Milwaukee, Tsunami Express is your go-to spot for a flawless finish and a first-class car wash every time. Trust me, your car will thank you. Sign up for a membership online at tsunamiexpress.com and get your first wash free. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat.
This time of year can be really tough on a number of areas in your home. If you're struggling with any electrical issues, the superheroes at Current Electric are ready to help you. Chuck Smith is a Brookfield Central grad who started Current Electric over 40 years ago. His mission was to serve our community with integrity and quality. Whether it's as small as a switch repair or as large as rewiring your entire home to a generator to keep your lights on or even interest in solar energy, call on the superheroes from Current Electric. Go to callcurrent.com. That's callcurrent.com.
They say seeing is believing, and when you see what's inside at American Place Casino, you better believe you're gonna love it. Because when it comes to amazing gaming, we're a real game changer. With the most exciting of table games like blackjack, craps, and roulette, the newest slots, a sportsbook, restaurants, bars, and more. So if you're ready for excitement, we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game.
Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Jen, has college football gotten a little sleazy where you can recruit
A little?
No, I'm saying from the standpoint, it used to be. That was good.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Here's Love. Wide open. He's got Kraft. Tight ends running with stiff arm. Kraft's going the distance. Tucker Kraft. He plays the game the way it was meant to be played, with an edge, said his head coach, and you saw it right there.
Second season for Tucker Kraft, and man, is he making a name for himself in what has widely been considered a down year for the tight end position. Mostly from a fantasy standpoint, right? That's why we're so concerned about the tight end production. Tucker Kraft has been coming to play. And this, to me, Gabe, is an evolution, right? You weren't sure. Smaller school, although, again, there are stories out there about how he turned down offers from big-time programs. I'll tell you this. Next time I'm at College Game Day this upcoming weekend and I'm sitting in the makeup chair across from Coach Nick Saban, I'm going to ask him, why? What was it about him that you saw that made you want to make an offer to him? Well, he couldn't make the offer, but Alabama want Tucker Kraft. I think we are seeing that now on Sundays. I'd be interested just in hearing his insight, what it was about him that they liked at that stage. Gabe, where do you see Tucker Kraft right now in the pantheon of the NFL and the tight end landscape? Where is Tucker Kraft for you right now?
Oh, he's a top 5 tight end. I don't know if that's deniable right now. His ability with the ball in his hands to be able to catch and run. We saw it with the 66-yard touchdown yesterday. His ability to be the inline blocker. And we knew that guys were going to separate themselves in that tight end room, in that wide receiver room, that they would clearly become a pecking order. And Luke Musgrave has been just left in the dust. Because even at his best last year, Luke Musgrave wasn't anywhere near this. Again, he couldn't really stay on his own 2 feet after he caught the ball. But, I mean, Tucker Kraft, to go from somebody who was barely in the tight end rotation a year ago to grow into what he has now is an unbelievable story and has become a huge weapon for the Packers.
Nice little safety valve for Jordan Love. How do you become a safety valve for the quarterback? You catch the ball. You catch the ball with consistency. That's how you earn the quarterback's trust. To go back to the conversation we were having earlier about Davian Wicks, I don't want there to be a split second where the quarterback is going through his progressions and saying, but that guy's not a sure thing. Tucker Kraft has proven himself to be a sure thing to the tune of 4 receptions, 5 targets, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns in the win over the Rams. Let's hear from Matt LaFleur on his tight end.
His work ethic. I mean, the guy, he loves ball. He works nonstop. He's relentless, and he's got a great mindset. And the guy, that's all he does. He just shows up. He works. He gets better. I think it's been really cool to see him blossom. I think the more confidence he's gotten, the better he's done. He's just a tough-minded dude, and it's been really cool to watch a guy and see the growth and development. I think John Dunn does a great job with those guys, but I think those guys within that tight end room all push each other.
The other thing, and I don't want it to be overlooked, when he says he loves ball, man, every coach I talk to, and Dan Lanning comes to mind most recently because I was in his living room about a month ago, and he was talking about the guys he recruits, why he's so good at recruiting. And his first standard is, Gabe, does he love ball? Because if you love it, you're going to put in the extra work required to elevate, to become one of the elite. And it sounds like that's who Tucker Kraft is. He is the guy who recognized he didn't like where he was in the pecking order last year. He wanted to be contributing more. And between then and now, he has put in the work to now be a trusted, reliable asset for this offense.
We've heard Chewy talk about it. Plenty of guys in the league who are talented enough, but don't necessarily care and just get by with the talent and get the paycheck. There's a lot of guys in the league like that. A lot of guys have a lot of success, long careers like that. Tucker Kraft isn't one of those guys where he was, a first-round can't-miss athletic talent, and for him to have to put in the work, the only way you put in that work is if you absolutely love it. And this is what you think you were meant to do, and this is what you have to do, and that's what you want to hear. I mean, again, it's just kind of that polar opposite of what we heard from Romeo Doubs.
So as he continues to evolve, and we got to get to break because I want to get to Rob Demovsky, and I will ask him this as well. Could we be looking at a situation where he is the number one target for Jordan Love? I mean, you looked around the league and you had guys like Gronk and you had guys like Travis Kelce, and they became the quarterback's favorite target. Could we see an evolution of this offense where then Jayden Reed kind of slides into more of that slot receiver role? Is still a scary option, but Tucker Kraft becomes the number one. I wonder if he continues to grow at this rapid pace, if that's something you might see from this offense.
I still lean towards no. When you've got a guy getting open 80% of the time and making the pace that Jayden Reed does, those are still going to be probably your more targeted guys than your tight end.
Let's get to Rob Demovsky. We'll take a break here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Lots of stuff to talk to him about right after this.
Victory Monday is brought to you by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza, with delicious brands like Palermo's, Connie's, Urban Pie, and Screamin' Sicilian. Palermo's has your game day covered. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer.
Never miss out on a second of the show. Find Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand. Sponsored by Celsius Essential Energy Drink.
Still seeing some problems. We've got the ramp from onto 43 southbound the Rock Freeway in the Hale interchange closed because of a serious crash. Now we've got westbound 894 really slowing down from Loomis all the way to that point. We've got also an accident on northbound 894 right about at Lincoln Avenue. It's off on the right shoulder. And eastbound 94, watch for the backups coming in from about 84th Street all the way through the Stadium interchange. Earlier accident northbound 94 right about at Putte, still there, still on the left shoulder being worked on. Looks like folks are getting past it without too much of an issue there. Northbound 4394, you're seeing delays around the Plainfield curve all the way up past the KK River. And check the TMJ4 Storm King forecast today. Mostly sunny, a high of 65 tonight. Clear and cool with a low of 48 at the lake, 39 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit means sit dog training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher, and summer is here. But if you want your parking lots and asphalt to be ready for winter, you have to remember the 3 R's from Johnson & Sons Paving. Reseal every 2 to 3 years. Repair when you see signs of cracking or potholes. And replace if there's constant standing water, buckling, or sinking. Don't scare customers or tenants away because of a bad parking lot. Connect with Johnson & Sons today before minor repairs end up being huge headaches. Schedule an appointment at johnsonsonspaving.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BUY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check the kickoff time first before showing up at the stadium.
What? The slot's full already?
Final score of today's game.
You said kickoff was at 3. It was last week.
That's not how it works, Bob. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
At the Home Depot, we know you can't control everything, like when your guests arrive too early for Saturday college football. But you can control your grill. With the Traeger Timberline XL, you can watch the game, not the grill. Monitor your football feast from anywhere using the Traeger app. With the Timberline XL, you can bake, smoke, sear, fry, and saute. That's Desmond Howard level versatility.
Huddle up, the food's done.
Defend your game time with Traeger and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
We need a new intro for this year, though.
All right, we'll work on it.
Consider it done, Rob.
ESPN's #1 source for green and gold information.
Look, I would suspect that we don't see Malik Willis throw the ball down the field a whole lot, especially early. But it would not surprise me if we got back to more of the quick West Coast stuff.
Our most musically inclined and bald guest.
I was overly harsh about Gabe's golf game because I played terrible yesterday.
It's Rob Demovsky.
This better be a great segment.
On Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
It's a great day to have Rob Demovsky joining the show. Lots of stuff to get to. How are you doing today, Rob?
I'm good, Jen. It's still dark here in Los Angeles, though.
You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me.
I thought it would be light out when I thought about this time, but I guess not.
Yeah, I had a 4 a.m. local wake-up call on Saturday morning. It's very dark for a long time there out on the West Coast. Let's get to the Green Bay Packers. The sentiment here is mixed. I feel very optimistic about the Green Bay Packers, their ability to walk out of there on the road, down some of their key players with a win. I feel like they will continue to ascend. But Gabe is a little more suspect. He's a little more like, there were too many things that they need to improve, and he doesn't feel like those should be ignored. Where do you land this morning?
Probably somewhere in the middle, but I would say this. I think when you win a game that you didn't play necessarily great, it can be a sign of that you're just masking problems, or it can be a sign that you're good enough to win a game when you didn't play your best and that you will play better. I still think this football team is going to be pretty good. I'm not ready to, I know they can't get pressure on the quarterback. I know their run defense at times still isn't very good. And I know offensively they haven't been, necessarily hitting on all cylinders. but I still think they're going to be a pretty good football team, and I think they're going to be a team that evolves, as the season goes along. And look, let's face it, yesterday they didn't have Romeo Doubs, who I guess I would have said the other day was either their first or second receiver. They didn't have Christian Watson, who was either their second or third receiver. They didn't have Luke Musgrave. Now maybe it doesn't matter anymore with the emergence of Tucker Kraft. But, they were missing some guys. They didn't have Jair Alexander. I mean, those are guys who are really, really good football players that you didn't have, and you still won a game. I realize you had to hang on at the end, but you still won a game on the road. That's not easy to do.
You brought up Romeo Doubs. Let's dive into that. How surprised were you when you saw the Bill Huber report that the reason he missed practice Thursday and Friday was because he was unhappy with his role in the offense in the month of September?
Well, I mean, borderline shocked because, and I'm going to try to find the quote real quick, but this is the guy when we talked to him all offseason, and really with all these receivers, they all said, it doesn't matter who the number one receiver is. It doesn't matter if this guy gets the ball more than I do. We're all in it for each other. The quote Gabe from training camp was from Romeo Doubs, there's a lot of talent in our room. I think it's selfish on my end to have goals because if I come up short, I'm not thinking about the team. I'm thinking about myself. Okay? Like, what changed from, I think that was about August 1st till this week? Like, that's what I'd really like to know. And we don't know. We still haven't talked to Romeo. I asked Jayden Reed about it in the locker room, and he said that I talked to Romeo. He's doing fine, but that's all he's going to say. I thought the really interesting quote, and we're kind of reading between the lines here, was Matt LaFleur saying, I'm really looking forward to the conversation with Romeo tomorrow, meaning today, which tells me one thing. He hadn't had a conversation with him, right? Like, He didn't even talk to the guy. I think Romeo's probably, in my opinion, getting some bad advice. I'm not sure this is the right way to go about it. John Anderson brought this up yesterday on the pregame show that we started talking about, I think it was last Monday in Matt LaFleur's press conference. Remember that interception where it looked like Luke Musgrave was in the wrong place and he was going to Doubs?
Yeah.
Well, Matt LaFleur explained to us last Monday that Romeo Doubs was in the wrong place. And is it possible that Romeo didn't like being called out in that Monday press conference last week? And that's sort of what started this whole thing rolling? I don't know that, but if it is, that's surprisingly thin skin.
Well, the other thing that you got to turn on your microphone.
Did you think it was Romeo Doubs' fault, or did you think it was someone else's fault on that play?
Early when watching it, I think we all thought it was Musgrave's fault
because what I thought.
Because Jordan Love said I was going to Romeo Doubs, if I'm not mistaken. But Matt LaFleur laid it out clearly last Monday that the route was supposed to have gone a different way. Romeo was supposed to take it a different way.
So the other thing I found interesting yesterday with LaFleur talking about it is he started with, I can't wait for that conversation. We're going to be able to work this out. But then halfway through, he says, I hope we work this out. Yeah. Is this situation salvageable?
I think it is. I don't think it's quite the same as the Jair Alexander thing, but I think that was salvaged. I will say this, I've covered this team a long time, Gabe, and these might be the first 2 in-season suspensions for disciplinary things that I've been around. Maybe that's just players are different now, but for 25 years, I've never seen anything like this, and now we have it twice in 2 years.
Do you think they work it out? Do they think you come together? Is he going to be practicing on Wednesday?
I would be stunned if he's not. I really would be. I think he works it out, but he's also going to have to regain, the trust of guys. I mean, again, going back to my conversation with Jayden Reed yesterday, I think Tom Silverstein and I were there talking to him, and Tom asked him, did you guys kind of rally around this as a receiver group? And he said, absolutely. Those guys probably weren't happy about it. They probably wanted to show Romeo, you want to sit out? Well, I'll have a good game or we'll win the game. So not that Jayden was being anti-Romeo, but, he's a prideful guy and they want to show that they can do this without those guys, without him, without Christian Watson.
Rob Demovsky hanging out with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy here as he does each and every Monday during the football season. We were talking about Tucker Kraft a few moments ago. What do you make of his ascension? I loved that Matt LaFleur said he loves the game. He loves football. That to us is like the difference maker. When you love it, you embrace the grind. You embrace what it takes to become a contributor, a productive member of the offense. What do you make of his ascension? And could he be, again, I said this to Gabe earlier, could he end up being the number one target by the end of the season for this team?
Well, I'll take the second part first. Right now, he's on pace for 54 catches. Jayden Reed's on pace for 71. So there's a big difference there. I do think the record, the single season record for tight ends by a Packer or receptions by a Packers tight end is 61. I do believe that's attainable. Actually, my story from the game last night that's up now on ESPN.com is all about Tucker Kraft. And I remember, I think I said it on Wildy's show a couple of weeks ago. I thought Tucker Kraft was a star in the making, and I say that both for his, his production, but also his personality. Like, this guy's got a little bit of a. Not saying he's going to be going out and partying in the like Gronkowski or anything, but he's got a little bit of that, sort of. Hey, I know I'm pretty good. I'm a tough guy. Quiet confidence. Actually, not even that quiet. It's a confidence about himself. And the lead of my story this morning is about Tucker Kraft telling us a couple weeks ago. He's like, I have one rule, and that's never get tackled by a defensive back in the open field. Never. And on that touchdown yesterday, the 66-yarder, he stiff armed 24 and then kind of just cast aside. I think it was 37. And to me, that's like Tucker Kraft's MO in a nutshell. And it may sound, simplistic. Yeah, tight end shouldn't get tackled by a DB, but there's a lot of them that get brought down by defensive backs. And Tucker Kraft is not going to be that guy. And just think about this. 6 years ago, he was playing 9-man football in Timberlake, South Dakota. And now he's potentially a star, an NFL star in the making. I do think, though, Jen, that if he keeps this up, he really will be one of those nationally known star tight ends, because he's got his press conferences, his sessions with us are he's not bombastic or anything, but he says things that make you go, okay, this guy's confident in himself, and he's got some personality.
Rob, what's up with these Favre-esque interceptions?
Ooh, that is a great way to describe that sidearm thing. Yeah, I'm trying to remember, Gabe, did Rodgers, I know he didn't do much of that, when he got to be established, but did he have any of those goofy ones early on? I don't think he did, because I remember him, specifically saying, I learned the good from Brett and I learned what not to do. From Brett.
Well, his last two interceptions, Rob, between just chucking it up in the end zone in the second half last week and now this one, those are more Favre than Rodgers.
Yeah. And especially, go back to the one last week. They had downs to play with, right? Yeah. After that one. That's the one. And, look, I understand, he probably felt like he was going to get shoved out of the end zone and didn't want to take a safety, right? That's probably what his thinking. You don't want to be the quarterback that goes out of the back of the end zone. Not like this wasn't like Dan Orlovsky just stepping out of the back of the end zone. And I love Dan, but you don't want to be that quarterback that just goes out of the back of the end zone and gives up 2 points. But it turns out that, that would have been better than the 6, that would have been a 4-point one for the good side had that happen. So I get why, he tried to throw, but it's not the throw. It's not the way to do it.
Rob, we appreciate you hanging out with us today. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Safe travels, sir. He's
Thank
Rob
you.
Demovsky. You can, of course, hear him on ESPN Milwaukee. Did Rob get his Twitter back? Or he's still locked out?
He's still locked out. Probably should have asked Rob about that. Is he still there? Or is he gone?
No, he's gone. I heard him talk about it yesterday, and I haven't seen him tweet since. So I imagine not much has changed.
The last tweet is from September 26th.
Well, he's taking a sabbatical. You've heard me talk about Professional Construction Inc. over the years. We have enjoyed having them help us with our home projects. As you might know, we're not the most handy people, so when something is out over our skis, we call our friends at PCI. Mike and Michelle operate a family-owned company. They believe in building relationships and doing exceptional work on your home projects. Congrats to PCI for celebrating their 20th anniversary this summer. You can learn more about their operation by going to their website. It's professionalconstructioninc.com. PCI is at professionalconstructioninc.com. And tell them Jen from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy sent you.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
The Jen, Gabe, and Chewy podcast is sponsored by Celsius Energy Drink, and I am here to tell you it makes a huge difference in my mornings. With a unique blend of essential energy and key vitamins, Celsius is your partner to an active lifestyle. My favorite, the Peach Vibe. Learn more at Celsius.com and pick up Celsius Energy Drinks today.
Hey, this is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman here to tell you about QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is helping people get their life back, and I was able to see that with my own very eyes. I went and checked out the Greenfield location, got my free consultation to have them take a look at my back, and it was unbelievable. All the tools that QC Kinetics has in their toolkit to help people get their life back, enhance their joints, and finally get rid of that nagging joint pain. The free consultation I had was a robust diagnosis to help me figure out what the best personal journey was back to health. There are so many things at the cutting edge of cellular treatments that QC Kinetics is utilizing to give countless patients back their lives again. There's already been tens of thousands of satisfied patients all throughout the country, and you could be one too. It's finally time to get your life back and visit QC Kinetics just like I did and get your free consultation. Call them today at 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
Luther Gray is Director of Ticket Operations and Group Sales at the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. Luther, tell us about the orchestra's mission.
We provide over 135 shows a year, classical concerts, pop concerts, family and educational concerts, and also we do many performances throughout the state as well.
And James Imaging Systems provides their expertise to support the symphony.
Yes, James Imaging is there. It makes it so much easier for us, and they help keep us on schedule.
Luther, it seems that with captivating audiences with acclaimed musical performances, many would like an opportunity to get involved.
That is correct. Attending the concerts is great, giving is great, but the volunteerism is wonderful as well. We need all of that to be a successful, thriving orchestra.
What's the first step people can take to ensure that long-term success?
They can go to our website at mso.org.
That's mso.org. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply. Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BREAK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BREAK to 321-321. That's BREAK to 321-321.
It's 1 week to deal at Ewald Automotive Group, October 1st through 7th. Shop over 500 quality pre-owned vehicles with rates as low as 4.9%. 4.9% on our best used vehicles at 10 locations. All inspected and ready for winter. Plus, we'll pay top dollar for your trade. Don't miss 1 week to deal through October 7th.
Go to EwaldAuto.com.
To well-qualified customers up to $20,000 finance for up to 48 months. See dealer for details. Expires October 7th.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
How much will Angie let you grow a beard?
I would say for 3 months I have to keep a beard if I lose.
Okay, and Angie would allow you to have a beard for 3 months.
She doesn't run my life. Drop that.
Yeah.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Here we go.
Is there anything better than football and pizza? Yeah, just kick back, watch the game on Sunday or Saturday. Just make sure you've got it do it with a Palermo's pizza and keep your freezer stocked. is depending upon, the flavor of pizza that you want, the type of crust you want, Palermo's is always going to have you covered. Palermo's has been doing this in Wisconsin for 60 years, so they know premium quality frozen pizza. Whether we're just talking about Palermo's or Urban Pie or Connie's or Surfer Boy Pizza or Screamin' Sicilian, those are just a few of the brands they have under the umbrella at Palermo's. Make sure you find them in your grocer's frozen food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
Metronome. Man, I'm up to something.
If you're paying attention to the Devante Adams sweepstakes, and a lot of people are, Diana Rossini is reporting this morning in the Athletics newsletter that the Raiders and the receiver want him to have a new home within the next 48 hours. So Devante on the move within the next 48 hours, the next couple days. So that means next weekend when teams are playing games, Devante Adams will no longer be a Raider. She says New York and the Saints remain the favorites. Steelers still firmly in the hunt. Chiefs and Bills aren't out of it, although Buffalo might be more willing to budge after Josh Allen's struggles this weekend. Gabe, where do you think Devante Adams lands?
I mean, I think it's got to be the Jets. I mean, especially after the way they struggled. Aaron Rodgers threw 3 more interceptions in London. Like, the Jets are already all in. Like, everybody's job is on the line. Who cares? Give up whatever picks you have to. You're all in. And by the way, I don't think Devante Adams puts them over the top. I mean, he certainly makes them better. But if you're the Jets, you got to be desperate. I mean, your job is on the line. He wants to be there. You got to find a way to make it happen.
Joshy, you got to vote. You got to guess. You got an idea of where you think Devante Adams ends up?
I think it has to be the Jets for the exact reason that Gabe explained. I do think the Saints are extremely live as an option just because Devante Adams seems to be addicted to subpar quarterbacking. So maybe that's an option.
Maybe it's just a Derek Carr thing.
Yeah, it's just a Derek Carr thing. It's just not he's addicted to Derek Carr.
There is a lot of dysfunction, though, guys. There is so much dysfunction still. Again, I try to give the Jets their flowers when they deserve them, but there is still some issues there, right? Like and
they're not going away.
And Devante's watching that game like many of us were yesterday morning and going, yes, I want to go to there. I question his decision-making.
Probably should have when he decided to go to the Raiders out of all the options of where he could go.
It's Derek Carr. He loved him a long time.
He does love Derek Carr. Find someone in life that loves you the way Devante Adams loves Derek Carr.
Aaron Rodgers and Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, There's something there with those two guys in decision making.
Every target that Alan Lazard is currently getting is going to Devante, right? The Alan Lazard targets right now are based almost exclusively on familiarity. It's got to be, right?
I mean, he was a healthy scratch without Rodgers late last year.
Correct. So it's familiar. So yes, maybe he'll mix it up a little bit, but I got to think that Devante is 1, Wilson is 2, Lazard block.
Lazard's still going to get some targets.
I still think, and I said this on Around the Horn last week, I still think the Bills should be in the mix here. Devante Adams puts them over the top, and I said this on the show. If you've been competing every year and getting blown out, or knocked out, rather, by the Chiefs, Devante Adams is the piece that puts you over the top. Devante Adams will get you to the Super Bowl, win that AFC title game once and for all. I don't know how you look at it and go, price is too steep, can't afford it.
They're extremely deficient at that position. I know they just invested in Keon Coleman, but he's not ready to be an NFL go-to guy. He might be by the end of the season, but a good way to help you get there? One of the best receivers we've seen.
Correct.
Give you can learn
Josh
and grow from
Allen,
that.
Yes.
Stephon Diggs again, but without the disgruntled part.
I mean, if I was rooting for a place for him to go, I think it would be Baltimore. I think Lamar and that offense, even though they scored 38 points yesterday, or 41, whatever the final was there in the wild game in Cincinnati, you add a legitimate wide receiver to what they have there. And on top of it, he did, put out the Instagram post of Edgar Allan Poe.
Who?
Edgar Allan Poe, you're familiar?
Unfamiliar.
The Raven.
Is he a guy?
Heard of it?
He's a guy.
He's a guy.
Edgar, I picked up on that.
Yeah, very, very famous poet.
Yes, I'm very familiar with Edgar Allan Poe, unlike some other people in the journalistic space who apparently struggled with that over the weekend. Quote the Raven, nevermore.
The Raven's mascot, his name is Poe.
I know. Listen, I know.
It's Poe.
I know Poe. Other people, not so much. Wilde and Tausch is next on ESPN Milwaukee. Have a great one, everybody. It's Victory Monday. Green Bay Packers get the win.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.